allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you for that. We don't have any minutes to approve for tonight. It's been busy, crazy busy, in a lot of the offices this past couple weeks. So we'll table that for now. This is not on the agenda, so we won't be able to take any action on this. But we'd like to invite Shalene up to the microphone and talk about an event that they're wanting to put on here in Carbon County. Thank you. Thank you. If you'll please state your full names for the record so we can get that on the record, please. And you're not Shalene.
Okay, so I'm Ben Lofthouse. I purchased All In Pro Rodeo as of June. All In was established in 2014. We would like to do a PRCA rodeo next year at your facilities. You guys have a beautiful facilities. Let's use it.
Okay.
Shalene is my HR person. She does quite a bit with me for that. I've joined forces with a Colby Comanche from California, has tiny event cattle. Myself and Drew Blessinger, we've both won multiple awards at the NFR. There's a gentleman with us named Wes Ibrahimi. He had the top bull at the PBR finals this year. So we have that down. But yeah, we would like to, in our dates that we see, as I see is July, the weekend after the 4th of July, I see that is an opening. There's an opportunity there. And then this weekend coming up, there's another opportunity because them cowboys will be here. Because once they leave, it's hard to get them to come back. We would like to start with adding $3,000 to $5,000 per event. So that would be, we have to have 7 events for the PRCA to approve that. They would not approve that with less than that. We don't have to have the 2 girl events we do not have to have, but we would prefer to have. Yeah. And then I'll just turn it over to Shalene.
Hi, I'm Shalene Chapman. They've hired me and I help them put on events. The reason why we pick Price is because I've rodeoed here and I know what you guys have to offer. And we were really sad to see that it was not in the schedule of events anymore. We're like, why not? We could do this. We don't know if you guys have a committee, if there's any type of a committee that we could join forces with, or if we help you guys build one. Because it's going to be, be honest, 3 to 5 years to make this an event to possibly be one of the best rodeos in Utah. Because this was the talked about destination years ago. So we want to make it that way again. We want to bring people here. Right now is the state fair. So you are going to have those contestants coming through the state of Utah. Through the July run in June, you've got them traveling all over I-70. They come down Highway 6. So people are bypassing Price to go to other rodeos. So why not attract them to come back here? Your guys' facility is amazing. It's where people want to be. We just took Tanya there for the first time. It's a great facility. So I think it would be foolish of any of us not to put a rodeo on back here in Price. So we would love to have you guys' support. We don't know if you have any questions for us.
Do you guys have any questions?
I don't have any questions. We have had some rodeos out there.
Mm-hmm.
They've done okay. We wouldn't mind that to build upon and getting better. So I do have your information, and
Yes.
we can discuss this and kind of plan for next year.
Yeah, and I can help with the advertising too. I do work at a local radio station in Bernal. So, I can bounce ideas off if you have a committee, or go talk to your radio stations, talk to your local bars, motels, restaurants, get the public involved, hang banners, do events leading up prior to this. Let the people know what's coming, because you have the community support to do something like this. I just don't think maybe the advertising or, get people's attraction, get them thinking about it in May, get them thinking about it in April. Like, we can jump on board first of the year and start planning ahead. And I'm willing to help out whoever needs the help to get this going.
Do you have any questions? Thank you.
I guess, I mean, I have lots of questions, but probably not a good place to do it here, just how it works. I personally have not been involved in one. We have a facility, but what would be required of the county in putting it on? And
Well, financial support from the county, I don't know where that's at in your guys' budget, but also you can talk to your sponsors about getting added money. Like, and that's where I could come in to help your people go to sponsors, go get people willing to do this, willing to jump on board and help out.
so it sounds like this would be a county event. We would be responsible for it. In
Well, I
a
mean,
large
with our
way.
assistance.
Yeah, okay.
The one thing I have to have is I have to have an ambulance and I have to have a veterinarian on the facilities. We cannot move forward without them two things. And we have to have people in the stands. If not, it's boring.
So we can help with promoting ticket sales. I mean, our idea is we put on a great event in Vernal. It's in March. It's called the MXBM. It's Marvelous Extreme Bull Madness. We only shot for a one-day event, and the PRCA came to us and said, you guys are doing a great job. We wanted a 2-day event. So we bring people from all over the world. All the top bull riders come there in March to Little Vernal, and we know how to put on a great show. So that's why when they joined this forces and asked me to join in, I said, you bet you, let's go. So we're more than willing to help out. We're more than willing to sit down with your committee. I'm willing to come out and butt heads with them and kind of teach them how to go talk to people. I know you've had committees in the past. I don't know if they're still together. I mean, we don't know who to contact on that or where we would go in that direction, but we are willing to help out.
Perfect. We don't have a committee currently, a rodeo committee. No.
We don't. So I'll stay in touch with you both and
Yes.
work towards that.
Okay. Thank you for having us and giving us your time, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Item number 2 on the agenda is employee recognitions. We'll turn the time over to Kelly.
We have several employee recognitions, but we are going to start with Employee of the Month, which is my favorite. Our Employee of the Month goes to Blake Noyes. He has been with the Sheriff's Office since 2016. He started as a corrections officer and then became a deputy on the road in December of 2020. I am going to present him with a plaque, but there's also more to his recognition. So, Andy, if you'll join me. I'll let you do your part.
Okay. So on May 11th, 2024, the Price Dispatch received a critical call from the National Suicide Hotline regarding a female subject in the Price area who is contemplating suicide. The caller reported that the woman had the means and intent to commit suicide by hanging, but did not provide her name or location, only a phone number. This minimal information set off a rapid, coordinated effort by law enforcement that ultimately saved her life. The initial information was relayed to Price City Police Officer Colton Greener, who began investigating the provided phone number. Unfortunately, there was no prior call history or identifiable information linked to the number. Shortly after, the female subject contacted dispatch directly, stating that she had attempted suicide by strangulation and was in urgent need of help. She indicated she was in a tent near Avalanche Road, but did not provide an exact location. Officer Greener worked closely with the dispatch, requesting a continuous ping of the subject's cell phone to narrow down her location. As law enforcement searched the area, they employed their patrol car sirens, coordinating with dispatch to determine if the female could hear them, a critical step in honing in on her position. The first cell phone ping suggested a location near 2600 South Highway 10 in Price, with a confidence radius of 3,300 meters. Deputy Noyes, along with Price City Police Officers Greener and Wright, were on foot near Avalanche Road, searching the area and loudly announcing their presence. Dispatch could faintly hear Deputy Noyes' voice through the female's phone, signaling they were close. To further refine the search, Deputy Noyes asked dispatch to request the female to text 911, which produced a GPS coordinate with a much higher confidence level of 5 meters. This crucial information placed the subject just north of Deputy Noise's patrol car. Deputy Noise and the officers moved quickly in the direction indicated by the GPS coordinates, continuing to call out loudly. A short time later, Deputy Noise located a tent covered by a tarp in the trees. Upon announcing himself, he heard the female respond from inside the tent. Upon contact, Deputy Noise observed a paracord rope around the woman's neck, indicating a recent suicide attempt. Officer White quickly provided medical trauma shears, allowing Deputy Noise to remove the rope and assess her condition. He also noticed fresh cuts and bleeding on her left forearm. Officer White and Deputy Noise worked diligently to keep the female responsive, employing sternum rubs as a stimulus while maintaining conversation until EMS arrived. Though the female's responses were intermittent, she showed appropriate reactions to their efforts. Once EMS arrived on the scene, the female was stabilized and transported to Castleview Hospital for further care. Due to the severity of her injuries, she was later life-flighted to a higher-level care facility. Thanks to the swift and coordinated actions of Deputy Noise and the Price City Police Officers White and Greener, the woman ultimately made a full recovery, granting her a second chance at life. This incident is a testament to the skill, experience, and teamwork of the officers involved. Despite the limited information and high stakes, each law enforcement member played a vital role in the rapid location and rescue of the subject. Their ability to work seamlessly under pressure was key to the successful outcome. Beyond this incident, Deputy Noise consistently exemplifies the quality of an exceptional law enforcement officer, known for his willingness to cover shifts, dedication to continuous learning through extra training, and commitment to making Carbon County a safer place. Deputy Noise sets a high standard for his peers. Outside of his professional duties, he is also a devoted son, husband, father, and friend, embodying the values that make him a role model on and off duty. For these reasons, I proudly recommend Deputy Noise as the Carbon County Employee of the Month for September. His actions in this incident and his ongoing dedication to the community highlight why he is an invaluable asset to the Carbon County Sheriff's Office and the citizens he serves. But wait, there's more. Okay. In recognition of his outstanding actions on May 11, 2024, Deputy Noise will be presented with a life-saving pin. This honor is awarded for his quick, decisive thinking and his unwavering commitment to protecting and serving our community, which directly led to saving a human life. The life-saving pin is more than just a symbol. It serves as a constant reminder of the critical role Deputy Noise played in a moment when every second mattered. His ability to remain calm under pressure, his swift response, and his dedication to duty exemplify the highest standards of law enforcement. Deputy Noise's actions on that day not only changed the outcome of a dire situation, but also underscored the profound impact that an officer's courage and resolve can have. This pin will forever represent the life that was saved and the exceptional officer who made it possible. Congratulations, Deputy Noise, on this well-deserved recognition. Your commitment to saving lives and serving our community is an inspiration to us all. I also have letters of appreciation to Price City Officers Colton Greener and Chris White. I'll welcome their Sergeant, TJ Robertson of Price City Police Department. I have a little bit to say about that. I am proud to present this letter of appreciation to Price City Officers Colton Greener and Chris White in recent incidents where their swift actions and coordinated efforts played a crucial role in saving a life. Officers Greener and White demonstrated the highest level of professionalism, dedication, and compassion. However, this letter is not just in recognition of their exceptional performance on this one occasion. but for the countless times they have stepped up to assist whenever and wherever needed. Whether it's a high-stakes emergency or routine assistance, Officers Greener and White consistently go above and beyond what is asked of them. Their unwavering commitment to their duties and their readiness to support their fellow officers exemplify the best of what it means to serve. Thank you, Officers Greener and White, for your outstanding service, dedication, and the positive impact you continue to make within our community. Your efforts do not go unnoticed, and we are grateful to have you as part of our team.
I proudly accept these on behalf of the officers. Officer White is on graveyards right now, and he's probably sleeping. And Officer Greener is on a detail that he couldn't break away from. So this just goes to show the exceptional teamwork and coordination and cooperation that we have with the two agencies here. So thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. I would have to echo what you said. We do have exceptional agencies and emergency services throughout the county that work extremely well together. So thanks to all of our emergency responders.
Yeah, I just want to real quickly say as well that, you know, there's a lot of stuff that these fine gentlemen and ladies see, and hopefully don't get mired down in too much of that negative things, too much negativity. Appreciate how everybody can come together and just work together and make things happen for the community. Appreciate it.
I guess the thing that stands out for me is just the things that we see nationally going on that target police officers and first responders in a negative way, and we just don't see that here, and we really appreciate the fact that that's not something that our citizens do. I think we all appreciate what you do. Thank you.
Yes, thank you. And congratulations to those. Thank you for saving a life. Okay.
Thank you. Okay, we have 2 more certificates of appreciation to give out. I'm actually going to ask Sergeant Adley to join me. He's going to read his, and then we will provide Nathan Hepworth and Taylor Cox with their certificates.
Okay, so normally on these speeches I wing it, but I wanted to make sure we got everything correct. So I would like to thank the county commissioners, Carbon County admin, and Sheriff Wood, and the audience for allowing me to speak about an important topic to the Sheriff's Office and myself personally. As you may or may not know, September is Suicide Awareness Month, and this September, Sheriff Wood gave the approval for the Sheriff's Office to wear the C.J. Smeon Foundation hat to bring awareness about suicide and the resources our community has for suicide prevention. Unfortunately, suicide is a major issue on the national, state, and local level. Nearly everyone has been affected by suicide, whether it be family members, friends, or acquaintance. This is why it is so important for all of us to spread the word about suicide and be there for those who may be thinking about suicide. Suicide has affected me and my family personally. Shelley Fieshko was my mother-in-law who struggled with mental health for many years. Shelley passed away on September 10th, 2013. She was an amazing, loving, caring mother, grandmother in person. She would do anything for anyone, and we will truly miss her. May she rest in peace. Unfortunately, the #1 cause of death for law enforcement and firefighters is suicide. Here locally, we have 2 former deputies that have taken their own life. Both were outgoing individuals, and nobody could have ever predicted either one would have taken their life. Both suicides, I was on duty when they occurred, and both have affected me in many ways. Luckily, Carbon County provides mental health outreach programs for their employees to better help cope with the tragedies that we in law enforcement face every day. Finally, I'd like to talk about the reason why I am here today. I mean no disrespect to the county chambers for wearing the C.J. Smeon baseball hat. The hat is being worn by every employee at the Carbon County Sheriff's Office for the month of September to bring awareness and get rid of the stigma related to suicide. On December 31st, 2020, C.J. Smeon, a 15-year-old, took his own life. This greatly affected many of us throughout the community and the Sheriff's Office. Shortly after CJ's suicide, his family, Pat, Nicole, Sierra, and Reagan, started the CJ Smuon Foundation to educate families and kids about suicide and began breaking down the stigma related to suicide. Every January, the CJ Smuon Foundation holds a hitting camp and banquet for youth to attend. During this event, local coaches, college coaches, and professionals come and teach kids hitting techniques during the day. In the evening of the event, a banquet is held to speak about suicide prevention, awareness, and support other organizations with the same goal as the Smuons. Another example of their dedication to suicide awareness, Pat Smuon comes and speaks to the cadets at the USU Police Academy, not only telling his story about losing his son and how it affected his family, but also bringing suicide awareness to the spouses and loved ones of the cadets to prepare them for the future in law enforcement. I would like to take the time to further describe the hat that we at the Sheriff's Office and local agencies will be wearing for the month of September. As you can see, the front of the hat has a baseball. Written inside that baseball is CJ number 1. I look at this and I don't see a baseball, but a light similar to that, worn by coal miners to see in the dark. To me, it represents a light leading you, the wearer, out of the darkness. On one side is the inscription, "Tear it up." This could mean many things, but to me, it means tear it up, the stigma community members and kids have about suicide and talking about suicide. One stigma is that if you talk about suicide, you may lead your loved one to suicide. This has been proven to be false, and we should constantly remind everybody that this is a false statement. On the back is an American flag to remind us of life, liberty, and freedom all Americans have. And on the other side is the number 988. These numbers are the number one topic people ask me about related to this hat. Often people think that 988 was CJ's batting average or slugging percentage, when in fact, in 2022, several government agencies banded together to create one hotline for anyone in crisis or who needs someone to talk about the struggles they may be facing. The hotline is a 24/7 hotline, and someone will always be there to speak to the caller, give them the resources they may need to get them out of the crisis and the crisis that they may be facing. The Smuon family was not able to make it tonight, but I would like to thank them for their generous donation to the Carbon County Sheriff's Office, Wellington City Police, Helper City Police, and the Price City Police. I would also like to recognize Detective Taylor Cox and Deputy Nathan Hepworth for their dedication to suicide awareness. So if Nathan and Cox can come up here. Okay, so for Deputy Nathan Hepworth and Detective Taylor Cox, the Sheriff's Office is giving a certificate of appreciation for your exceptional professionalism, compassion in responding to the tragic incident in 2020. Your empathetic support made a profound difference in the affected family. In honor of Suicide Awareness Month, we commend your dedication to provide care during such a critical time. Your commitment is deeply valued and appreciated. So again, I'd just like to thank everyone, and I will get off the podium.
That is all from me. Thank you.
Thank you. Item number 3 is Super Service Award. Tina, turn the time over to you.
I almost didn't make it after all that, just so you know. Just doing my best not to cry. It was a great tribute to all those gentlemen. So our Super Service Award for the month of September is going to Megan Marshall. Megan was the driving force behind our Hometown Renaissance Festival, which attracted numerous visitors from beyond our city, putting Price on the map. This event not only boosted the local economy, but also provided a platform for creative individuals, adventurers, geeks, LARPers, children, the young at heart, artisans, craftsmen, dreamers, and fun-loving people to come together. I'm sure a lot of you are familiar with Megan. She helps a lot with the Price City events, and she even volunteered for the Helper Arts Festival. when they were talking about committees, I looked over to her and I said, there's another committee you can join. So I'm happy to give this award to Megan Marshall with Price City Events and also for her volunteer work.
Oh, that's so sweet. There you go. Say anything or just run?
You're
You
welcome
can,
to
you
speak.
can absolutely say
No,
something.
Go ahead.
Oh, goodness. Hi, thank you for this. This is a huge honor. I know several of the recipients in the past, and so to be at the same level and receive this type of recognition is really humbling. I'm usually the one ordering these things, though, so it feels really weird to be on the other side of it. I certainly prefer the other way around, if I'm being honest, but I am very grateful for the support that I get from the county and from the cities that I work with, Price City, and giving me the trust and faith to go with it. Lane Miller is here, city councilman, and he was really, really instrumental in making sure that the Renaissance Festival happened and has supported all of my crazy ideas with international days. No, okay, most of my ideas. Still said no to the blimp. I'm pushing for that still. But Price City, Helper City, and again with the county, and I'm getting this award, but the staff from the county and the municipalities are right there along with me doing the heavy lifting to make sure that these events go well, and I have a blast doing it. So more so as my poor patient friends and family who always end up on the volunteer list for craft nights and late planning sessions. So I'm very grateful to have them in my life too, and I'm really anxious to see what food is contained in here, Tina. That's what I came for. So thank you so much. I appreciate it. I'm not going anywhere, and there's more to come. It's going to be so great.
Well, thank you. You've been a mainstay in a lot of events throughout the community for a lot of years, so thank you. This is a well-deserved award, so thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Megan.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Item number 4 on the agenda is review and possible approval of Utah Cooperative Marketing Program Memorandum of Understanding between the State of Utah Office of Tourism and the Carbon County Office of Tourism. Tina.
I almost forgot I had that. So this year, our office applied for the 2024 Co-op Marketing Grant. You guys might have seen the press release in the paper. Really good response from the community. I really appreciate that, Shani and I. This is a big deal to not only our department, but to the county and the Carbon Corridor as a brand, and to our wonderful cities that make up who we are as a destination. So the most money I've ever applied for, I applied for $200,000 and we received $170,000. This is a dollar-to-dollar match. And so our department will match that money using transient room tax dollars that we receive. So I think I'm even more proud to just say that's a $340,000 budget that we're able to responsibly promote our area, bringing visitors to our area, which is also such a big piece of economic development. With visitors comes new business, new ideas. So we're very excited. And so this agreement is between Carbon County and the Utah Office of Tourism. They provide 75% of that funding up front, and then the other 25% comes at the end when we do our final report. So that's something that we're agreeing to do, is to provide all the information back to them, receipts, what we spent the money on, and all of that. So really excited.
This is a big deal. And if I'm right, if I remember right, this was one of the bigger grants that were awarded of all of them. The money was tight this year, and this was one of the bigger ones. We're super excited, and thank you for all you do. I think it's probably good for the public to know that year over year, the transient room tax has gone up for the last several years because of the efforts and the marketing that's going on by Tina and her office.
When you drive by the hotels, the restaurants, you can see they're full, and there's a lot of campers and a lot of trucks and that on the back roads and UTVs, ATVs. So appreciate all your efforts with that.
Thank you.
Yeah, thanks, Tina. You're doing a great job.
Thank you.
I'll entertain a motion.
I'll make a motion that we approve the Utah Cooperative Marketing Program Memorandum of Understanding between the State of Utah Office of Tourism and the Carbon County Office of Tourism.
I'll second.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes. Thank you, Tina.
Thank you, Commissioners.
Item number 5 on the agenda is thank you, Castle Country Livestock Show. If you'll please, as you come to the mic, state your names so we can get that on the record and make sure it's spelled properly and give you the recognition you deserve.
Hi, my name is Deegan Westover. We would just like to thank you for supporting the Castle Country Classic Livestock Show this year. We had a great turnout with around 150 animals and 117 youth from Carbon and Emery counties.
My name is Cohen Thornway. I showed in Pee Wee and won my first buckle showing a lamb. We had a Hawaiian theme. We got to show in Hawaiian shirts.
That's cool.
My name is Aston Thane. I show goats, lambs, and pigs. I have shown for 4 years at the Classic. Next year is our 5th year, and we're hoping to do something extra special. Thank you for your continuous support, and I got a little quote for you guys. Champions aren't made in the show ring. They are just recognized there. If you want to see a true champion, where a true champion is made, look at the daily routine. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And congratulations.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Appreciate that.
Thank you. These are some of the events that are worthwhile putting on for the youth. Makes a big difference.
I always look forward to having these young men come up and tell us what they're doing and what they're achieving. And I can just tell what they're going to be like when they grow up. So thank you, parents, for doing the right thing.
Item number 6, consideration of possible approval of a memorandum of understanding between the Family Support Centers of Utah and the Carbon County Family Support Center. Shelley.
Commissioners. So this is another portion of our funding from the Association of Family Support Centers. They've increased our funding a little bit by $10,000 extra to add on to our current funding that will end in June of 2025. This is just an MOU. They've done contracts in the past, but they decided to do an MOU this time, and the directors across the state were part of helping out with the MOU, so we did have a lot of say. So it's been, we're following the MOU, so it's been good.
Any questions?
I have none.
I don't have any questions either, just compliments. Thank you and the staff for what you're doing and just making things continually better out there. So
thank you. We part of the increase of the funding had to do with the consistency and the responsibility of the directors throughout the year. So if we were compliant with all of DHHS contract requirements, if we were compliant with the Association of Family Support Center compliance, if we turned in our reports on time, all of those things helped get us more funding. And so with that being said, they made me co-chair of the advisory group. So now I'm co-chairing that. So I guess it's a good thing, and we received more money out of it. So, and then it will be like an electronic signature, and Commissioner hopes I will send that to you.
Perfect. Okay.
I'll make the motion that we approve the memorandum of understanding between the Family Support Centers of Utah and Carbon County Family Support Center.
And I'll second.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes.
Thanks, Shelley.
Thank you so much.
I'll get it signed as soon as it comes in.
Okay.
Thank you. Item number 7, consideration of possible approval of sales agreement for real property on parcels 02-1807-0000 and 02-2212-0000 and parcel 02-2215-0000. Commissioner Jensen.
In our last commission meeting, we talked about this land purchase that we've been working on for a year and a half, and the federal grant that we were supposed to receive to help pay for the property. But as we got closer to having all of the instructions coming from the federal government, we made a decision in our last meeting that we would not take the federal grant because of all the strings attached that would, in many cases, make it impossible for us to have someone, an industry, move in and locate on the property, which is the goal that we have. So with that in mind, we have a sales agreement that has been worked on with the Campbell family on 307 acres of land that are on the east side of the rail spur leading to the Savage coal loadout out on Ridge Road. This property, because it is next to the rail, is very valuable in future potential businesses moving in there. We have quite a few people interested in that currently, and so the value of those parcels being purchased by the county is a big deal. And one thing that it will allow us to do is to have control over how that property is developed. We can see that could be a real problem if a landowner just sold parcels to folks that come in, and there wouldn't be a real organized way of having that property developed. So we have entered into agreement with the Campbell family to buy these 3 parcels. There's 2 40-acre parcels and 1 parcel that encompasses 227.66 acres. As well as the land, there is an additional 200 shares of Schofield Reservoir water that come with this purchase. The purchase price has been negotiated at $2,850,000. So that's what this sales agreement is about.
And what I would add too is we as a commission wanted to make sure that this wasn't turned over to a developer, that the county does take the lead on this. We don't want to get it mired down with other people and sitting on this. We want to transform it into something that's developable. As Commissioner Jensen said, we do have companies looking to move in fairly soon. So what they needed was the county to have ownership of this property. It helps them with their financing on their side. So this is an exciting time. It's good to see that we've been frugal enough not to pat us on the back too hard, but we have been frugal. We have sold properties, and we've explained all this too, but this is exactly what we've been frugal for, is for something like this.
Any further discussion?
Commissioners, I know you're going this direction, but any motion that's made should specifically find, if this is what you've decided, that this purchase and the purchase agreement is in the public interest. I know that's, Commissioner Martinez, you more or less said that, but I think that should be part of the motion and part of what you all cast your vote on.
Thank you. I think the highlight of this purchase is literally to try to help offset the taxes that the homeowners particularly are paying currently. And as we have new industry come into the area, that will help lighten the tax on the homeowners. There's no other way to reduce the tax. We've gone over this for years, and the only way is to replace the loss of coal mines and the industries, the power plant that's closed, and the continued reduction in the value of those type of businesses in our county that has actually shifted the tax burden more onto the homeowners. So our goal is to set ourselves up as a county so that as we move into the future, that gets reduced. So I don't have anything else.
Okay. I'll go ahead and make a motion then in the public interest. So can I open it that way?
I think you have to state that that it is in the public interest to purchase the property.
Okay. Yeah, it is in the public's interest to purchase, and the parcels 021807-000 and parcel 02-2212-000 and parcel 022215-000.
And along with that, that you approve the contract form that's been prepared.
The contract form.
Yeah, because specifically, I guess what's on the agenda is the approval of the sales agreement. So you need to specifically find that agreement meets your approval as well.
Okay, so to edit that to include the sales agreement form.
We have a motion.
And each of those parcel numbers you read has one additional zero on the end of each one of them.
Yeah. There's 5 or 4?
4.
You said 3.
Oh. Okay.
I get lost, so I just say extras.
I'll second that motion.
We have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes. I think one more thing to add is this is also part of the Inland Port project area to further show the importance of the property being purchased and included in that project area. Item number 8, presentation of the 2023 audit financials by Larson and Company. Welcome. Oops.
A little bit late, I'm sorry. Well, Commissioners, thanks for letting us take a few minutes of your meeting time. I know your time's precious. We do want to like to get in front of you and just let you know how the audit ended up. This is the fiscal year audit for 2023. So the period ended December 31st. So I understand that we're 9 months past December 31st. But just so you know, the audit was finalized at the end of July, and everything was submitted to the federal government. Everything was submitted to the state auditor. So on that side, everything's been completed. It was just kind of connecting times when we could get in front of you guys and let you know how it went. Because it's 9 months in arrears, I'm sure that Seth presented you with financial information throughout the year. I'm not going to go through a lot of financial data. What I do want to talk about is the opinions that we give and what those opinions are and what that applies to in the financial statements, so that there's kind of a better public understanding of what the audit actually entails and what the scope of our audit is. If you want to turn to page 1 of the bound copy, so this is the audit report, and it always precedes the financial statements in any audit that you look at. The first 2 paragraphs is our opinion, and that is an unmodified opinion. And we are actually giving an opinion on each column in the financial statements, and I'll kind of show that so you'll have a better understanding.
So an unmodified or an unqualified is a clean opinion. That means that we didn't have to modify the language of the audit report because there were issues that we couldn't get past in the audit engagement. The third paragraph is a new paragraph that you'll notice in the audit report this year. Our guidance finally caught up to the new audit report format. Prior to this year, everybody kind of they didn't really mention the entities that are a part of the county that we as auditors didn't audit, but other people audited. And so this kind of clarifies that there are a couple of entities, so the Carbon County Recreation and Transportation Service District, as well as the Schofield Service District. Those two entities don't fall under the scope of what we do as auditors, but they're audited by other individuals. So you can see that 94%, 95%, 97% respective of the assets, net position, and revenues of the aggregate presented component units is what the transportation district makes up. And I'll show you that where that is on the financial statements. The Schofield Reservoir is not actually audited. They're so small that what they do is they submit a financial survey to the state auditor. They're not to the $1 million limit where they're required to have an audit done. But because they're so small, typically what it is under 10% of either the assets, net assets, or revenues of any one opinion unit, then we scope that out of the audit. So meaning it doesn't really matter what their balances are. It's not going to change our opinion because we deal with materiality. Just remember that these financial statements are those of the county and they're your responsibility. Seth is very aware of his responsibility of making sure that the accounting principles are being done right, that transactions are being recorded correctly. Also, it's your responsibility in preparing the financial statements or throughout the year, you need to identify conditions or events that come up that would prohibit you from continuing as a going concern. And this came about because of COVID. Nobody wanted to talk about how COVID was affecting their businesses. And this is government, public, private, nonprofit, doesn't matter what entity type. This is now a requirement. Because nobody wanted to talk about it, people rely on your financial statements and they'll lend you money, they give you granting, things like that. And then if you end up folding up shop because you can't survive, whatever it ends up being, then they're either out that grant money, they're out the money that they lended to you, and it becomes an issue. This was more in the private sector where businesses kind of folded up during COVID, but there were a lot of governments outside the state of Utah that really, really struggled. And so now standards changed that say, you know, anything that affects you negatively, you need to address that and have a conversation of, we've identified the issue, can we get past this issue? What are we going to do to get past this issue? And then provide that information to us. And you can also see in our responsibility on the next page, those bullet points. That last bullet point, we also have to look for conditions or events that we identify as doing our audit procedures that we consider things that are going to prohibit you from continuing as a going concern, at least for the next 12 months. Required supplementary information. So there's sections in the financial statements that do not fall under our opinion, and that is the management's discussion analysis that always follows the audit report. And then behind the notes, there's a section called required supplementary information that contains the URS pension information, the 10-year schedules. Those are sections that GASB requires that you have with your financial statements, but they're not considered part of the basic financial statements, so therefore they're not opined on. Supplementary information. So this is information that you as a county choose to include in your financial statements for additional analysis, or a third party is requesting or requiring that information to accompany the financial statements. So in your in the case of the county, you've chosen to show your non-major funds, show the details, so you can see what each fund, what the assets, liabilities, and fund balance of each major or each non-major fund is on the basic financial statements. Those are all combined into one column. And then the federal single audit is considered supplementary information. So the federal government requires that you have your schedule of federal awards attached to your financial statements, and that's considered supplementary information. The opinion on those sections always follows whatever the opinion is on the financial statements, because it's information that
is rolled up into the financial statements. All right, so if you want to turn to page 12, I'll just give you a kind of a quick overview of the financial statements. So these are the government-wide financial statements. Page 12 is your balance sheet. Very typical from what you would see in a private business. This is presented on the economic resources method of accounting, meaning that you have anything that's long-term. So capital assets, capital debt, or long-term debt, things that give you economic viability or economic worth, but you cannot readily turn that into cash and use it for current year expenditures. So the full accrual method of accounting on that one. But if you look at those columns, so the governmental activities, those would be all of your governmental funds. And then the business type activities, that is a combination of all of your business type funds. And then that last column, the component units, so that would be the Recreation District and the Schofield Reservoir District. So those two roll up into that one column. So what we're giving an opinion on is the governmental activities, business type activities, component units. And then if you flip over to page 14, these are your major governmental funds. These are what you typically get from Seth. So this is the information that Seth would provide you on a monthly or quarterly basis, all of the financial information for the funds. So these are presented on the modified accrual. I like to say it's kind of the quasi cash basis. So as money comes in, it's revenue. As money goes out, it's cash basis. It's how you prepare your budgets. There's nothing long-term on these statements because you can't readily turn those long-term assets into cash. So you have the general fund, municipal services fund, capital projects fund, building authority fund, non-major governmental funds. So the non-major funds are grouped together in one column in the basic financial statements. And then at the end of the financial package, the supplementary information that you've chosen to include is the detail of all of those funds. So once again, we're giving an opinion on each column in the financial statement. So each column in your financial statements actually receives an opinion. Because they're all unmodified, then we just roll it up into one opinion. If there was one qualified opinion, we would have to list that separately and then list all of the other opinions that we give individually so that you could tell the difference. So just kind of a little bit of understanding of the financial statements. All right, if you will flip with me back to page 64, the next report that we're required to issue as part of our audit is a report in accordance with government auditing standards. This just states that there are specific standards related to government audits that we have to follow. And part of that is looking at your internal control. We don't give an opinion on your controls. We don't give an opinion on how well they're functioning, but we make sure that A, you actually have controls in place, and B, they're functioning. For you guys that have listened to me at UAC, you know that this is kind of my soapbox. I'm really big on controls, and so I've trained my staff. They're constantly looking for controls and control efficiencies just to help you guys get better. So nothing really major that we need to talk to as part of that report. So we'll move to the next one. The next report we're required to issue is for the Utah State Auditor. And this is, we are looking at your compliance with very specific areas of Utah code that they assign every year. Those may or may not change. It's kind of based up at the state auditor's office. The areas that we were required to test this year is your compliance with your budgets, fund balance, the justice courts, any restricted taxes or related restricted revenue, the fraud risk assessment, as well as your governmental fees, the fees that you charge. And you can see right below that section on page 65, in our opinion, Carbon County complied in all material respects with the state compliance requirements referred to above. So that is also an unmodified opinion on compliance. And I always have to add the caveat in there that this is not a legal opinion. A lot of people refer this to as the Utah State Legal Compliance Guide, and it's not a legal opinion. We leave that up to the attorneys. And it's also not an opinion on the entirety of Utah State Code. It's very specific to these areas. All right, next page. Page 67, the next report we're required to issue is for the federal dollars that you spend during the year. If you exceed 750,000, then you're required to have a single audit, which typically most counties do. What we're looking at is your compliance with the regulations of those federal awards, as well as the controls over those awards as well. So we're looking at compliance and control when we look at the federal awards that you spent. We've also issued an unmodified or an unqualified opinion on your federal single audit as well. If you look on page 72, so this is the summary of the audit results. Typically you won't have this section unless you have a single audit, but it's a good summary of all of the audit. Number one, we issued an unqualified or an unmodified opinion on the basic financial statements. There were no reportable conditions related to the audit of the financial statements that is significant enough that we would be required to report it as part of the single audit. There were no material weaknesses in the audit of the federal award programs. We issued an unqualified or an unmodified opinion on the compliance for major federal award programs. The federal award programs that we tested this year were the LATCF money, as well as the emergency watershed protection. So those two grants were the major grants this year that we tested. Let's see. All right, so then we just need to go over one finding that we have, and this is kind of a follow-up finding from last year. Just is still an issue. The fixed assets module in the system is not operating correctly. It doesn't tie out to what's actually in the assets that the county has. We have all of that information on our own server internally, and then we get all the additions and we calculate depreciation, and then we give that information back to Seth. And that's really an issue. At some point, I think that you're just going to have to get with the software and just dump that module and just restart it. But where we have all of that information, it's very easy to just import that in. We've done it with a couple of other counties that use the same software. It just, for some reason, something gets corrupted in there, and then it's not caught, and it could go on for a decade. And I know that the prior auditors, when we had conversations with them, it was, yeah, we just kind of add the assets this year and we don't really care about their system. Well, I care about your system. That's one of those controls that I want Seth to be able to know, if you guys want to know how much equipment you have, he should be able to tell you at any one time. And so this is an issue it's been carrying on for a number of years. I think ultimately the answer is just really scrapping that and then importing the information that we have, and then watching it very closely to make sure that the numbers are calculating. And we'll continue to keep it on ours just because we know ours is going to roll appropriately. That's something that we can work on with Seth and get that accomplished. It's just a matter of time, and I know that Seth's been really loaded up. And I think this year, the gal who was doing it went on maternity leave, right? So she was actually gone at the time that we were going to get it taken care of. And you can see the prior year findings, same thing, just the capital assets. There's issues that we talk about with Seth and his team, just controls or things that maybe just need to be cleaned up a little bit that really don't warrant themselves as findings. But Seth and his staff, they're doing a good job. They take our advice. They, even sometimes it's a little bit critical and maybe some criticism that we give to them, but they take it, and run with it, and they show an improvement. I think this year the audits have gone smooth. I think this is the smoothest audit we've had in the 3 years that we've been doing it. So kudos to his team, and we just really appreciate working with the county. If there's any questions that you have when you review this, absolutely feel free to reach out to me and have a conversation. I love to have conversations because ultimately I want you to understand what's inside the audit and what we're doing and how we can help you out. So any questions right now?
I don't have any.
Do we need to formally accept the audit, or?
I don't think so.
Okay.
Well, I think you have in the past. whether
Yeah,
you
I know
have
if you
to
do
or
a
not.
motion, it has to be to accept the audit, not to approve the audit. I do know that's the appropriate language.
There you go. Might as well do it. I think then we've got a record that we've done
Okay.
it.
We have a motion to accept the audit.
I'll make the motion to accept the audit by Larson and Company.
We have a motion
I'll second.
and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Thank you. Item number 9 on the agenda is consideration of possible approval of a memorandum of understanding with Newmark and Mountain West Commercial for industrial real estate planning and management for Ridge Road Industrial Park. Commissioner Jensen.
So the property that we're purchasing, we need professional help in 2 areas. One would just be in how to manage bringing rail into the area so that it can serve multiple users. And the other area is just in industrial real estate management. And so there's these 2 individuals that are from the Salt Lake area that have been recommended to us to use as consultants to try to put together a good master plan of how to approach this property as we purchase it. We have 2 companies that want to purchase some property right now, so it's critical that we engage them early and make sure that we don't sell a parcel that will interfere with the long-term plans out there. So I think that we've got to have some good help there.
Anything else to add or any questions?
No, I just to add one thing would be one of these companies has roots in this area, so they it's a prominent name as well. So they want to steer us in the correct direction. So there's no other discussion. I'll go ahead and make a motion then. There's no zeros on this one, so I should be good. Approval of a memorandum of understanding with Newmark and Mountain West Commercial for the industrial real estate planning and management of the Ridge Road Industrial Park.
I'll second.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes. Item number 10 on the agenda is adjourn as the Carbon County Board of Commissioners and convene as the Carbon County Board of Equalization.
I'll make the motion that we adjourn as the Carbon County Board of Commissioners and convene as the Carbon County Board of Equalization.
And I'll second.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Item number 11, consideration of possible approval of assessor-initiated adjustments. Similar to our last commission meeting, as people file appeals to the BOE, those individuals are being contacted by the assessor's office, and when possible, a settlement agreement is arrived upon between the assessor and the taxpayer. We still have several that haven't reached a settlement, but currently before us today, we have 80 more parcels to add to the list of those that have been reviewed. Just for the public's knowledge, their Assessor Bishop has reviewed these, as well as our contracted assessor, Kevin Ewell, has also reviewed these parcels, and neither one of them have any questions or problems with them. Do we have anything else to add?
I don't have anything.
Any questions with any of the parcels?
Nope.
Not, I'll make a motion that we approve the assessor-initiated adjustment list with 80 parcels on it.
And I will second.
We have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes. Go ahead.
I'll make a motion that we adjourn from the Carbon County Board of Equalization and convene as the Carbon County Board of Commissioners.
I'll second.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Make a motion, we adjourn.
We are adjourned. Thank you.